I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
This happened a couple weeks ago. After our Sunday service, a mother with a fidgety child told our board president, Joanne, how she finally got her child to sit still and be quiet. She said, about halfway through this sermon, I leaned over and whispered to my child, if you're not quiet, Reverend Blaine is going to lose his place and will have to start his talk all over again. And you know, that child was quiet. So how do you feel when you see a photo of President Trump photoshopped to look like Hitler? How do you feel when you see a photoshopped photo of President Obama looking like a joker? Our culture has normalized dehumanization. As a result, we have diminished our own humanity in the process. So today we continue our talk and our study of this incredible book in which Brene Brown suggests to us, offers us the opportunity to stand in the wilderness, to be in the wilderness, to be in that place where we are not quite sure what we're going to do. But she offers us the opportunity not to be the same way that we have been in our relationships. And she invites us to stand for what we believe in a loving and a compassionate way. And to take a stand against those things that are against the goodness of our culture, the goodness of our humanity, the goodness of the spirit that desires to express itself as us. The title of the 4th chapter in her book and the title of this talk is People Are Hard to Hate Close Up. People are hard to hate close up. Move in. Yeah? If we zoom out and look at our world through the 24-hour news that seems to be everywhere, we can see a world that is increasingly defined by politics and social media. From that viewpoint, we can see what appears to be a world filled with posturing and hatred and name-calling and people trading humiliations. But if we zoom in and we see our own life and we see our friends and we see our spiritual community, and if we can see what is really true for us and for the world, we can see that these illusions, these demonstrations, this propaganda, really, in a sense, that we're being fed isn't true. It's not the big picture. The big picture is us. The big picture is the love that we share, the power that we have, the truth that we are here to be as a human culture. And we are in a place in our culture where this dynamic is changing. And we are a part of this dynamic. And a lot of what I'm sharing today in this talk are direct words and quotes from Brene Brown. And some of them, like this little bit, I'm expanding on. But it's time to stop believing the 24-hour news and be the truth of who we are, to be present, to be the essence of love. You know, and it's time for us to start caring about other human beings. It's time to start being aware of our own pain and the pain of others, and to know that it's not working. The way we're dealing with the pain right now is not working. We have to stop pulling drowning people out of the river one by one, and instead we need to walk to the headwaters of the river and find the source of the pain, and thereby make a difference in the world. And that's what we are here to do, to see it different and to be it different and to make a difference. Pain will only subside when we acknowledge it and take care of it. Addressing it with love and compassion would only take a minuscule amount of the effort that it takes to deal with the anger, to fight it. Dealing with pain head on can be terrifying. Dealing with our own pain head on can be terrifying. Dealing with the pain of other people can be terrifying. But it's the wilderness that we're called into, be a part of changing. What we know now is when we deny our emotions, they own us. So we need to look at, what are we feeling? How am I being? And sometimes we need to be angry, because that anger, if it's used constructively, can be used to bring more compassion, can be used to go after the hate and the fear and the pain. When we deny our emotion, it owns us. Anger is a catalyst. Holding on to our anger will exhaust us and make us sick. Internalizing anger will take away our joy and our spirit. Externalizing anger makes it harder for us to come together, to be together, to love, to have compassion. We need to transform our pain, our hurt, our anger into something life-giving, like love, like compassion, like courage, like change, justice. We are the ones who are called to do this work. Sometimes our anger can mask something that's deeper, perhaps a more difficult emotion like grief, regret, or shame. And sometimes we need to dig into what we are really feeling. What is at the basis of what we're feeling? However, this isn't the time, and we're not going to go into that right now, so but we are going to go into one part of that. Brene Brown shares this example in this chapter. She says, I can't think of a more powerful example than this sentence. You will not have my hate. In November of 2015, Antoine Laris's wife, Helene, was killed by terrorists at the Bataclan Theater in Paris, along with 88 other people. 2 days after the attacks, in an open letter to his wife's killers, Antoine posted this email or this Facebook, and it's in French. So I'd like to read to you some of what he wrote. On Friday night, You stole the life of an exceptional being. The love of my life, the mother of my son. But you will not have my hate. I don't know who you are, and I don't want to know. You are dead souls. If that God for whom you blindly kill made us in his image, every bullet in my wife's body will have been a wound in his heart. So no, I will not give you the satisfaction of hating you. That is what you want. But to respond to your hate with anger would be to yield to the same ignorance that made you who you are. You want me to be scared, to see my fellow citizens through suspicious eyes, to sacrifice my freedom for security. You have failed. I will not change. There are only two of us, my son and myself. But we are stronger than all of the armies in the world. Anyway, I don't have any more time to waste on you. I must go see Melville, who is waking up from his nap. He's only 17 months old. He will eat his snack as he does every day. And then we will play like we do every day. All of his life, this little boy will defy you by being happy and free, because you will not have his hate either. You will not have my hate. Brene Brown writes, courage is forged in pain, but not in all pain. Pain that is denied becomes fear or hate. Anger that is never transformed becomes resentment and bitterness. Kailash Satyarthi won the Nobel Peace Prize. And in his 215 talk, a TED Talk, I'd like to share some of what he said. Anger is within each one of you. And I will share a secret for a few seconds. That if we are confined to narrow shells of egos and the circles of selfishness, then anger will turn out to be hatred, violence, revenge, and destruction. But if we are able to break the circles, then the same anger could turn into a great power. We can break the circles by using our inherent compassion and connect with the world through compassion to make this world better. That same anger could be transformed into it. We pay for hate with our lives, and that's too big a price to pay. Dehumanizing. Dehumanizing always starts with language, often followed by images. Michelle Mais is the chair of philosophy department at Emmanuel College. And she says, dehumanization is the psychological process of demonizing the enemy, making them seem less than human, and hence not worthy of humane treatment. Dehumanizing often starts with creating an image of an enemy. Successful dehumanizing creates moral exclusion. We are all vulnerable to the slow and insidious practice of dehumanization. Therefore, we are responsible for recognizing it and stopping it. We must never tolerate dehumanization. Today, we're edging closer and closer to a world where political and ideological discourse has become an exercise in dehumanization. We must never tolerate dehumanization. Dehumanization is the primary instrument of violence that's been a part of every genocide recorded throughout history. When we engage in dehumanizing rhetoric or promote dehumanizing images, we diminish our own humanity in the process. I like what James Baldwin wrote. I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hates so stubbornly is because they sense once hate is gone, they will be forced to deal with pain. That's powerful, isn't it? I just found this book last week. And in this book, which is based on a conversation between His Holiness and journalist Franz Alt, the topic of universal ethics comes up a lot. In response to the turbulence in the world today, this book offers invaluable insights aimed to help the whole of humanity focus on what unites us rather than what separates us and makes us seem different. According to the Dalai Lama, teaching secular ethics refers to developing our inner values for a better and more peaceful world, no matter what perspectives are in play. These values include mindfulness, patience, forgiveness, benevolence, tolerance, generosity, humility, and affection. The Dalai Lama says, disarmament is compassion put into practice, but the prerequisite for external disarmament is inner disarmament of hatred, prejudice, and intolerance. Our faith, our principles, our teachings, the things that we know as a spiritual community, know that what we are here to do is to find the face of God in everyone. And that means politicians. That means other leaders. It means the media. It means strangers. It means people whose views we are adamantly opposed to. To be able to embrace them with love and to move our conversation from a place of calling names and creating images that dehumanize each other. We need to stand in a place where we absolutely will not tolerate dehumanization. Yeah. And I ask you to make a commitment not to tolerate it. If somebody calls a political person a name, tell them that's not fair. Tell them that you won't stand for that. If they want to share with compassion their views, that's great. But let's don't dehumanize anyone, because doing so is creating violence and diminishing ourselves, diminishing the presence of God that we are. We are here to do something different, to make a difference on this planet, to hold a new consciousness and a new way for all of us to discuss, to be, to live, to be in the truth with each other. When we desecrate somebody else's divinity, we desecrate our own, and we betray our faith. And we betray the principles that we believe. So let's raise the bar. Let's be the bar and lift the bar and lovingly ask those around us to be accountable in the same way. This is how this movement of truth is being shared on this planet by you and by me. So let's take an active part in finding the face of God in everyone. People are hard to hate close up. Move in. I invite you to close your eyes. Loving Spirit, let us breathe in your love. Let us reach to that deep place within our soul and call forth a deeper understanding. Let us release all the pain and the hurt, all the blame and the judgment, and just be present to the truth of love that is here. To feel our own compassion. In the same way, having compassion for our own hurts, for our own fears. And to love them so much that we can let them go. So that we can stand in a place of universal compassion. To answer the call. To be present to the truth. And to never be a part of dehumanizing. But rather to be a part of compassion. Breathing in and breathing out. And let's take just a few moments to rest in the silence, to embrace the compassion within us in the silence. Thank you, loving Spirit, for this wave of compassion that is moving through us. Let us gently push it along out into the world, embracing our entire planet, embracing all life. We give thanks to be alive in this time and to be the light. And so it is.
Where I live, there are rain.